What's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Today I'm privileged to be joined by somebody who I'm incredibly excited to speak with. One of my favorite fighters out of Australia right now. We've spoken to him from his days on the regional scene. And my goodness, am I privileged to be joined by him now after his win in his UFC debut at UFC 312. By far, one of the best additions to the UFC roster in recent UFC history. He is hands down, I think, one of the best prospects we've seen come out of Australia in recent memory. And that comes with a lot of other prospects coming out of Australia right now who are absolutely killing it. He's got a killer mustache. He redeemed the knockout in 19 seconds. Some might say, why did he redeem it in 19 seconds? And then others are going to say, man, this young man from Perth is one handsome gun with a hell of a mustache. I'm privileged to be joined by, after his KO win in 19 seconds over Anshul Jubli, Mr. UFC debutant Victorioso, Quillan Salkilld. Quillan, thank you so much for your time, brother. My goodness, you know how to make an impression, and that UFC debut was something special. Talk to me about how you're feeling, brother, and how's everything been?
And everything's been good, man. Yeah, that night, something special. Like, it's something that, man, I don't even know how to explain. It felt so wicked, so natural to me. You know, the whole experience. I just enjoyed every single moment of that whole week, man.
Definitely. And it almost feels like that whole week, it was just something special brewing in the water in Sydney. You know, across all the debutants that were fighting on that card from, you know, the regional scene to now, we've got arguably the most star-studded additions from Australia in the UFC right now, and probably the deepest that Australia's ever been inside the UFC. When you talk about that weekend, like you mentioned, such a special week as a whole, talk to me about just the whole process of living through that week and how everything kind of went. Was it as you kind of imagined, or were there some things that caught you a little bit by surprise?
Yeah, the whole week was just how I imagined. I tried to have fun with it. Like, I didn't take everything too seriously. I didn't let it, everything, get to me. I just enjoyed it. Like, I just waited till the right moment to switch on. I think some fighters, they get there at the start of the week and they're like in fight mode ready. I was just there, just, having fun, and I find the right moment to actually, switch on. And yeah, it was just fun. Like, just enjoy myself. It helps with the weight cut throughout the week. Don't take everything too seriously. Just, yeah, go there and just enjoy yourself, have some fun. That's like part of the process.
Definitely, and it was such a special week for me, especially just to see yourself. And I know just the team at Louis Rowe Combat Academy worked so hard towards something like this for a very long time. And now both you and Cody Haddon having won your UFC debuts, it feels like it's never been a better time to be a fan of, just Western Perth, or, Perth mixed martial arts and just Western Australia as a whole. When you talk about the moment, you're talking about it felt natural. It felt incredible to go in there and get the victory like we all know you're capable of doing. Those on the regional scene have seen your victory over Blake Donnelly. We know you're capable of putting guys lights out in special moments like this. When you went in there and knocked out Anshul Jubli in 19 seconds in front of your home crowd, I know there's probably not going to be a better moment in your career, at least looking back, until you go on forward through the division. That's going to top that. But in that moment where you're fighting, was it almost anticlimactic in a sense to go in there, 19 seconds, get that moment? Was there any part of you that wanted, you're like, hey, I kind of wish it went a little longer, or it caught you by surprise, just the overall experience?
Get in, get out. That was perfect. Don't get overtime. So, as we say here, you're not here to fuck spiders. So you just want to get in and get out. And
Definitely.
the only downside would have been I didn't get to show my, my whole toolbox. Like, I just went in there and, one shot pretty much, and I didn't get to show, I know I got really good skills everywhere. I mixed it up really well. Didn't get to show that, but, it was, to me, that was like a picture perfect night.
Definitely. And I know for you, you were your own biggest critic after the Contender Series. I know you, in the moment, were very critical of the performance, although it was a great performance. When you look at the fight against Gage Young, I thought you did remarkable. And then you go in there and immediately make an instant impression amongst the Australian fans. And throughout the fight week, the love you were getting from Australia was incredible. And we saw your Instagram following quadruple essentially overnight after the Anshul knockout. When you talk about the love and support and fighting in your home country and getting kind of the outroar of support and overall sentiment from them, just the way that they kind of approached it and overall love from them, how much did that mean to you? I know used to big crowds with the Eternal events to some degree, or fighting in front of crowds, but fighting in front of a UFC crowd of Australian fight fans has got to be a whole different level. How was that?
Yeah, I gain with that energy. Like the more I find, the more eyes that are on me, the more noise there is, the more calm and relaxed, I get. I just find it cool. Like it doesn't make me more nervous. It makes me more, pumped up. Like it's such a cool experience. Like that's what got me in the Contender Series. I'm walking out and there's not many people there. Like, oh, this is weird. Like I want the crowds. I want all the noise. This just the atmosphere in general is what makes it, 10 times more exciting. And I remember throughout the week, like I didn't expect. I got noticed a lot, and it felt weird because I haven't even had my debut yet. I didn't expect to get, like noticed and, get asked for pictures. But man, every day I got like 5 to 10, random people just walking down the street or in the hotel asking for pictures and autographs. And I was like, well, like, what's going on? Like, I haven't even obviously had my debut yet. I didn't think I'd get recognized. So, all the fans there showing love. We handed out so many mustaches. We had like the mustache from the
I
popsicle.
was gonna ask
Oh,
about that
we
next.
handed out like so many. So it was so cool. So we're getting the brand out, the mustache. So
Absolutely, it's
it
Movember
was so
it's
cool.
Movember every month of the
Every
year for
month is
Quillan Salkilld.
November. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
and
It's
I was gonna ask about that. The next thing, actually, you mentioned just fans even coming up to you in the hotel. It felt like the amount of fans that we saw pretty much tagging you on their stories and just
yeah.
throughout the week, it was insane. It was probably in the hundreds, maybe even the thousands of fight fans before your UFC debut, and then on top of that, the overwhelming support I think for the Young Bucks was such a special moment for fans of FightWave who obviously know pretty much everyone who was debuting on that card. We've spoken to multiple times prior to their UFC debut, especially you and Jono and Kobe, and just seeing that moment come to fruition, and Tom as well, not his debut obviously, but still very early into his UFC career, having four guys who pretty much under the age of 26 fighting in front of Australia, showcasing that next generation. You couldn't have asked for a better prelims on that card than the one that we got. When you talk about being able to share that moment alongside your Aussie counterparts, and for some of them, especially Tom, some at one point being linked to fighting him on the regional scene. Now you're both killing it in the UFC. How special was that? We talk about it being a special night. How special was sharing that moment with them?
It was cool, man. Like I love it. Like even the camaraderie between everyone. Like it's just everyone, just a bunch of just the lads. Like all sharing the bus, or just it just everything just felt. Everyone was just so comfortable around each other. It was wicked. I was the only thing I was worried about is them stealing my bonus. That was after my fight. I was like, I want everyone to win, but just like it's take it easy, right? It's take it easy, steady, steady. Don't be stealing my bonus. Yeah. So yeah, it was yeah, such a cool night. It's
And
gonna that's a very rare debut I got to have, and I'm very grateful I got to experience that as my first opening fight in the UFC.
Absolutely. I would imagine it's hard to steal a bonus after the performance that you had.
Yeah,
And on top of that, it's very rare we see UFC memes get made to the scale that they got made after your fight. It's
fucking
been
hell.
it's been about 3 weeks now, or 2-3 weeks
Oh no.
since UFC 312, and the fight fans are still going in hard on your opponent. I know he said some stuff, but it gets to a point where you almost feel
I
bad
know.
a little
I
bit.
kind of feel bad. Like he doesn't deserve that much, but I get everyone sending me the memes and just guys, I've seen them all. Don't send me them. I've seen everyone. All right, I've seen them. I've seen all the memes. All right, keep sending me the same ones over and over. I've seen it. All right.
And I guess the next question I
Yeah.
gotta ask on the subject of the memes is, Quillan, why did you redeem it, man? Why did you redeem it?
Oh, I- you know what? I still don't even know where that meme come from. The why did you redeem it? I've never seen that before. I just seen all the comments, all the memes. I don't even know where that even originated from, really, to be honest. I didn't think it, but I had to redeem it.
You had to
I had to
redeem the
do it.
bonus, and you
I
had to
had to
redeem
do
the
it.
knockout.
I was forced. I was forced to redeem it.
I gotta say, that meme, I've seen it at least 100 times. It doesn't get
Yeah,
old every time I watch it. And I know
yeah.
Romel's absolutely loving just the support and just the memes coming his way after the performance. And I guess for me, one of the biggest things I've wanted to highlight with Luis Strauss and with the team over there is just how, I guess, stoic Romel is when it counts. You know, when you talk about a coach that doesn't get highlighted enough, he's absolutely at the tip top of those coaches that doesn't get recognized enough. And I know he's not one to kind of let his emotions overshadow his, you know, his fighters' performances, and he doesn't really show his pride and his, you know, just proudness of his students in the moment. But is there any conversations you have with Romel? How special is it just to carry that moment with him? You know, now both you and Cody having won your UFC debuts, just fighting on the regional scene just a little bit over a year ago. Now both of you in the UFC, you with an incredible knockout win under your belt in your debut. Cody with a gritty, I want to say, fight of the year, one of the underrated fight of the years against Dan Argueta. When you look at the journey that you've shared with Cody in this moment and sharing it with Romel, how special has that bond been over the last year or so?
Oh, I can't even explain it, man. Like, being with Rom since day one, him taking me under my wing, you know, going through the highs and lows of the sport together, getting my UFC debut and having it end that way. It's just a fairy tale, man. It's a fairy tale ending. And, you know, there's only going to be, you know, one day we're going to look on this and be like, damn, we come from here, right? So we still got a long way yet to go, but it's been a really special journey so far.
Definitely. And I've got to say, when it comes to building something special out of somewhere that hasn't globally been recognized as an MMA powerhouse, but for those who really know how special WA is for combat sports in Australia, they know the goods that come out of there. And now, right now, it's been never better. You know, looking at just the scene right now in WA, of course, Steve Ercek headlining in UFC Mexico City in a few weeks' time. You've got yourself Cody Haddon, and you've, of course, got Jack Della Maddalena now fighting for the UFC gold. It's never been a better time to be coming out of WA. When you talk about the evolution of the sport in Western Australia, could you have ever even imagined just this moment here where so many of the WA guys, for the longest time, people saying it's kind of playing catch up, now leading the charge in the UFC as opposed to maybe following, and just being a very special state in Australia at the current moment?
Yeah, right now we're killing it. You know, like, I remember there being a time where I wanted to be the first, you know, UFC fight out of Perth during the amateurs, and I seen, you know, Jack Della and Erceg, you know, chopping up, and then I was like, fuck, okay, that's not going to be the case. I'm just going to have to race Cody then. And then Cody gets in before me too, so I'm like, fuck, like, I'm the last one, you know, so far. Obviously, I reckon there's going to be more. You know, we got a lot of special talent in Perth that are, you know, over the next coming years are going to shine through and make it as well. But in terms of the four, I was the last one to make it in, and I wanted to be the first, so that sucked, but I'll take it. I'll take it right now.
Fourth isn't so bad, I would say. I think
fourth isn't so bad, right?
Fourth isn't so bad. I mean,
no medal though, no bronze. I didn't even get a bronze medal. Shit, I got a participation medal.
Still better. I mean, fourth. I'll take fourth any day. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. And then, you know, just talking about immediately wanting to get back into it. You know, for me, when you talk about the lightweight division right now, I know in early 2020, 2021, lots of guys in that outside the region, you know, outside the rankings, I want to say, that really were looking into the rankings. And right now, it feels like we're kind of getting glimpses of that 2020, 2021, just resurgence of unranked lightweights that are always making an impression. And now adding your name into the list. I know that for you, staying active is a very big thing. And especially in the lightweight division right now, it's never been better to be a fan of the division. What's your kind of thoughts on the lightweight division now that you've got a win under your belt and you've made an impression and definitely caught the eye of some of the other lightweights in the UFC?
Yeah, I just want to, you know, I want to speed run this whole UFC thing. You know, I'm trying to speed run to the top. You know, I want to get as many fights as I can. And right now, I obviously went through that fight unscathed, so I could get straight back in a camp and I want to fight as early as May. Like, that would be actually a perfect time frame. Ideally, I want to get in the same card as Jack Della in Montreal. There was actually a guy I commented on.
You keep stealing my questions, man. You're beating me to the punch.
But unfortunately, someone messaged me saying that he's already got a matchup. So I was like, shit, that would have been cool. Like, guy from Palestine versus someone from WA would have been the prelims, the prelim version of Bilal and JDM. That would have been, pretty fucking cool, but guess that's not happening. But I'll take anyone else on that Montreal card. I just, you know, I had to taste the pay-per-view, show. So I don't want to go. I don't want to do any more fight nights. I don't want to go back to the Apex at all. I want to. I want to stay at the pay-per-view events, do the ceremonial weigh-ins, and have heaps of eyes on me. I think I'll fight better then. I think the next one. Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be a pay-per-view. I don't want to have a war at the Apex. Like I want to have another sick finish on the on the pay-per-view event. That'd be ideal.
Definitely, and I've got to say, after that debut performance, it would be a travesty to put you on any Apex card first and foremost. And while we're at it, justice for Esteban Ribovics. Having a fight of the year like he did last year, and now being subjected to the Apex, it's a disservice to fighters like yourself and him to even entertain putting you guys on the Apex cards. I feel like we got to get rid of the Apex, man. Nuke the Apex. That's all I got to say. First and foremost, get you guys in front of those crowds. And on top of that, like you mentioned, Abdul Karim Al Sawadi, Palestinian fighter in the UFC's lightweight division. You, of course, from WA Australia. That, like you said, I think it would have been a great fight on the prelims of Bilal JDM at UFC 315. But on top of that, I think when you talk about just how well you stack up against a lot of these other lightweights, we saw glimpses of your well-roundedness against Gage Young on the Contender Series and throughout your regional scene career in Australia. And right now, is there any part of you that's like, just wait until my next fight? I want to be able to showcase to you guys even more just how well-rounded I am and be able to show the fans, maybe who didn't get to see it in your UFC debut, that you're a major force in this lightweight division when it comes to any aspect of mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I do. In the Contender Series, I did get to show, my well-roundedness and how I can, mix things up. But, the thing I found with just my execution of a lot of the stuff wasn't, up to par to what I'm used to doing. That's the only thing that needed to be fixed in that fight. That's why I was so critical of myself afterwards. It wasn't until I actually rewatched it where I was like, okay, that was actually a good fight. But yeah, in the moment, I felt trash. But yeah, it was just the perspective in the moment in the cage. Yeah, next one would be I would like it to go a few rounds, and I want to show my whole skill set, my whole toolbox, showing how well I can mix things up just with the basics and with some fancy stuff. Like I got some neat little tricks that I haven't even shown yet, and I would like to whip them out in the the next coming bouts.
Definitely, and I know for you, of course, Quillan, always leveling things up with Coach Romel Lewistra at Lewistra Combat Academy. And I gotta say, for me, first and foremost, just to see your evolution throughout your career. I know me stepping into it almost midway in your regional scene career, and I think our first interview coming before, I think, your first Eternal title fight. It was just an incredible moment for me, I guess, on that Saturday at UFC 3 South, to see you and all the other lads just go to war, do something incredible, do something special. And I wanted to thank you first and foremost just for your time, brother. As always, it's a privilege to speak with you and pick your brain just for the quick chat after what was an incredible performance that Saturday night. And I've got to ask you two final questions, and one being, you've obviously mentioned that you want to get back in there as soon as possible. Is there an opponent in mind that you would love to share the octagon with, and what is your message to the supporters at home of Quillan Salkilld?
One fight I'd like to get at some point, I think would be a cool fight, is that was it that Ruffy guy? He has a cool style. I think I have a cool style. I think it would be a very entertaining fight. I'm probably a few fights away of getting that one. He's had, how many fights he had? He's probably only had 3, so maybe
he's only had 2. So he's only
true.
had...
Okay. Yeah, that's doable. That's doable. That one, and in the later future, Paddy will be a cool fight to get, and then obviously I would like to fight. It's like one of those the legendary lightweights, like when Oliveira, Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje, Islam. The only thing would be they're getting a bit on it towards the end of their career. So maybe that's not going to happen. And then Armin one day would be that'd be cool. I just want to test myself against the best in the division. So any one of those guys, that'd be it'd be an honor and a really cool test for me.
Absolutely. And then, Quillan, any message to the supporters at home who, throughout fight week, we saw the Salkilld army come in full swing. And I've got to put another name in the hat, I guess, of lightweights I would love to see. We spoke about it last time, maybe not in the octagon, but I know the UFC has their pro skateboarding division. You versus Jalen Turner in a game of skate.
Yeah, let's go.
Now that you're in the UFC, that actually seems like a possibility that we see you and Jalen.
I've seen some videos of him skating. He's pretty good, shit, but I'll have to practice a bit more. I haven't stepped on a skateboard for a while, but I still got it. I can still tray flip. You know,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
that's stayed with me. Still tray flip flat ground. You know?
Definitely.
But
And then,
to all my supporters, it's like I can't do it without you. Like, I gain so much energy and confidence with my supporters. It'd be so much harder without that support. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
absolutely. And then to
Yes.
me, I want to say a big thank you first and foremost to obviously your manager Jazz for the incredible work that she's done in bringing you
The
and
boss.
both you
Yeah.
and Cody up and being able to be there every step of the way for you guys. I've got to highlight her capabilities as a manager and just what she's been able to accomplish throughout the entirety of her, time in the combat sports scene. And then thank you, Quillan, so much for your time. A privilege as always, my man. Thank you so much. And to the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Quillan Salkilld on social media to keep up to date, I should say, on his next fight. It's been me, Dan, from FightWave. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this interview. Have a great day, guys.